First of all, after you are a prime minister, you understand better that in order to develop a country or a community, it doesn't matter. You need first a vision, and after that a strategy, and after that a plan. If you do not have a strategy where you are, and where you want to be, no one can develop a city or a country. So that was helping me to understand, going back, what our competitive advantage as a city, what should be at the base of our strategy. I realized how important it is to find the competitive advantage of the city, and we found out that the university, the education, the innovation, the knowledge-based economy is the most competitive advantage of the city, and after that we shaped a strategy and a concrete plan to achieve that. And the second element, I understood as a prime minister that in the end all politics is local. What is happening at the local level is affecting the national and the European level, and in the end is the most important one. In this moment we are on the menu. We are not, our role is not very clear. The farmers and the municipalities have to fight for the same amount of money and have one single plan. You do not know what the priorities will be at the national level. So first, to be on the table, our seat there, and to impose and to write a subsidiarity clause. What does it mean, subsidiarity clause? Means that we try to define what regional checks means from the European Commission. They say regional checks, we came with a definition. So regional checks, from our perspective, would mean a subsidiarity clause, which means that in every country, the municipalities, the regions and cities, they have the power to say no to the plan in front of the European Commission if the national authorities do not respect the legal constitutional framework inside to consult, to involve, and to involve the municipalities, regions and cities by involvement from design, implementation and evaluation, not just in one stage. So if we do not have a legal teeth for this kind of regional checks, that means that the role of cities and regions, especially the municipalities, big municipalities, would be lower. That's one topic. The other one is, as I said, let's have a separate budget, not together with agriculture. There are two pillars of our European Union, agriculture and cohesion. Now they are putting in the same box with some amount of money for agriculture, but for the rest we have to fight together with farmers for the same amount of money. We want to define exactly the money for cohesion and for municipalities, regions and cities, and of course the money for agriculture. And because otherwise in the big pot, the local, regional, municipal perspective would be lost. That would be the second element. The third element, we still arguing a cohesion policy for all regions. In this moment, there are many regions and municipalities which are not eligible for the next financial framework in order to get the European funds. Cohesion policy must be a glue which is keeping us together, because problems are even in the most richest regions, in more rich countries, but of course in other parts of Europe. So we want to keep this golden principle of cohesion policy for all. And last but not least, the last element is to be sure that in each national chapter, each national plan, we have a regional chapter, at least one. That would be sure that all of municipalities, regions and cities will be preserved. If it's not the case, then again, we are not going to be voiced anymore. We are fighting for that because we are fighting for Europe. You cannot imagine a Europe without municipalities, regions and cities, and for their voice on the table. If we are going to lose that, we are going to lose the very essence of our Europe. So our fight is to preserve the glue which is keeping us together, and to preserve the future of the European Union, and to see how European Union will look like in 2034. And without regions and cities, Europe is not going to be anymore a strong Europe, because in the end the European Union is not just a union of capitals, it's also a union of municipalities, regions and cities, and that's our main aim and our main arguments in the fight in this very moment. Working on different levels, as I said, from the European Commission, European Committee of the Regions, CMR, cohesion alliances, European Parliament, European Council, national governments, ministers, regional governments and local level. And of course, but not least, our citizens. We have our citizens on board to explain why this battle is important for our future. Things are much simpler. Now we have a vision, we have a plan, now we need the money. If we do not have enough budget, enough money to put in practice what the European Parliament or the European Commission or the European Council established, we are going to lose the credibility in front of our citizens. So we need our money, we need money to implement, for example, 100 climate neutral city programs. We want to prove that finally in Europe we can have cities before 2050 to have a climate neutral approach. For that you need investments in order to see the quality of life. Because climate neutral city is not just a concept, a theoretical one. It's a very concrete one with good arguments for our people. They see the results. Their bill on energy would be lower. The mobility in the city will be better. The quality of air, the quality of life in the city will be higher. The public transport will be improved. We have many kindergartens and schools refurbished and so on. So what we want to explain that the green policy, the climate action, is in the end for the quality of life of the citizens of Europe. But in this very moment, there are too much talk and too less budget, or less budget for that actions. And we need to be back on track. To be back on track to understand, for example, that even for defense we can spend money from the climate actions. For example, I'm giving the example of Warsaw and Cluj, for example, because I spoke with the mayor of Warsaw. We are building up a metro system in Cluj-Napoca. And in the same time, that metro, it's green. In the same time, it's mobility. In the same time, it's defense. Defense why? You don't need to build any other shelters in the city when you have a metro. Let's see in Kyiv how the metro system is using in a case of emergency for that kind of things. So even try to understand that even from the defense component, you can have a combination of funds in order to support the climate action. But must be a top priority, because in the end, it's a matter of quality of life. And what it's the main argument of our European Union in comparison with other countries, exactly the quality of life of the people. It's exactly what I mentioned before. If you go in Romania right now, there is no any single place in the entire country not to see the positive impact of the European funds. So when I'm asked why Europe, why we support European Union, how Europe is helping us, I'm just going outside and I see, can you see this school? Can you see these roads? Can you see this kindergarten? Can you see this park? Can you see this bus? Can you see this metro? Can you see city belt? Did you see that it's coming from the sky? No, the money came from the European Union. Why? Because we succeed to change the attitude in the city. And finally, the best argument for me in this very moment is freedom to stay. We want our people back. We want our people to stay in the city. They won't stay if we do not offer good conditions, quality of life. Nobody should be forced to leave his own region, city or country due to the economical reasons. So freedom to move, yes, but also freedom to stay. In order to have freedom to stay, you need stronger Europe, you need European Union in our cities, in our countries.
CMR, CCRE.